The reason we did the career stage series was two reasons. One, it was because we believe there are some specific stages in Squiggly careers where people need specific support. So normally all of our podcast episodes, because we believe in democratizing development, we don't try to make them for a particular audience. Like, we try to make them as universal as possible. But the reality is, sometimes in your careers, the support you need is a bit more specific. So this series is trying to get into some specific conversations for people who are at a very particular point in their Squiggly careers. That's why we did the series. The other reason is we are using it, I guess, as a little bit of a test to see where people might want us to dive a bit deeper. And that's kind of what I want to ask you today, actually, where you think, I think you could do more in this area, Helen and Sarah. I think if you were kind of creating more playbooks or writing a book or writing articles or whatever it is that we could do, I would focus on this area. Thanks, Susan. So these are the stages. And then what I was going to do is ask you to vote on my screen with which ones that you thought were the most relevant. Can I hide annotators? Zoom is making all these changes. Okay, I don't think I can hide annotators at the moment, everyone. So your names might come up when you vote, which hopefully that's all right. The stages, and then I'll explain how you vote. So stage number one was the starters stage. So this was an episode which was designed for people who are kind of finding and starting their first job. And for us, really, we want people to start Squiggly. Well, I think also we recognise that is a very difficult time because it can be hard to find your first role. And also you're navigating kind of the invisible rules of the workplace very often at that stage. So we wanted to help people sort of learn and grow in their first job. A couple of people we interviewed there. So a lady called Gemma Rebecca, who is brilliant. She is STEM Babe on TikTok. And she works in cybersecurity. But her advice is so specific, so useful for people who are looking. I really like, she talks about there are sort of three routes to starting your first role, like the graduate route or the kind of first hire routes. Very, very specific, useful advice. So that was the starters episode that we did. We also had Upreach on there. Upreach are a social mobility charity who do some great work to make kind of employment accessible for people in their first job. Then made me sad. Yeah. I know it is. I'm sorry it made you sad, Sam. Hopefully we can share it with people who might be at that stage, make us feel a bit better. Okay, so the next one that we did was the career returners, the returners one. This one got quite a lot of engagement. This came out on Tuesday. And this was about people who kind of helping them come back with confidence, really, after they've had some form of career break. Now, most commonly, this is maternity leave, but it is not only maternity leave. It can be for caring responsibilities. It could be for paternity leave now more frequently. It could be for health reasons, that people have been out of the workplace for health reasons. It could be that someone's done, quite a significant sabbatical. There are lots of reasons, and most commonly it is maternity leave, but I just want to be clear that it isn't only that. Burnout, exactly, like health reasons, for whatever reasons, but returning can feel very hard. Lots of people are doing it for different reasons, but there's something they call the career break penalty, which is where it is quite hard for people to return. So we had that episode. We spoke to returner, and we also spoke to Julianne Miles, who has a whole business around returning, which is good. And then we had on Wednesday, which one came next? Setbacks. Kind of navigating through a Squiggly setback. Again, a bit like the returner, this is most often in Squiggly careers, redundancy or restructures. But again, it is not only. Sometimes I think a setback can be, like a massive mistake you feel like you've made, or even like where you've made a move to a job that you think, well, this isn't what I thought it was going to be, and now I'm stuck here for a bit. That can feel like a setback. So I think there are lots of setbacks, but very often this feels like a restructure or redundancy for lots of people in a Squiggly career. So in this one, we spoke to Amy Schoenthal, who has written a book called The Setback Cycle. It's like this 4-stage process that she talks about when you're in a setback, how you can kind of assess where you are and then almost take a very structured approach to kind of managing your way through that process. And so I think her work's really useful, and she kind of talks through that one. Today, we have got the career changes episode. So this is for people who might want to do a bit of a pivot. And again, sometimes I think we make the assumption that pivots have to be really big things, you know, like moving from, I don't know, being an accountant to an athlete. Well, probably from an athlete to an accountant, you probably go the other way, don't you? But it doesn't always have to be like that. A pivot could be changing function in the company that you're already in. A pivot could be, I mean, you know, go from a big company to a small company. It doesn't always have to be like this massive, you know, sometimes I think when we think about career pivots, you get told the really big stories, and actually sometimes, you know, very often pivots are a bit more incremental. We talked to Jenny Blake. This is the one that is live today. Jenny Blake wrote a very popular book called Pivot, and she's lovely. She's really lovely. I enjoyed talking to her a lot. And she said, we are, I don't know if I've told you, did I tell you? We got a book deal in the US for our next book, which comes out in February next year. We'd kind of already got our UK one, but we very recently signed our US one, which is very exciting. And Jenny said that when we go in September, we're going to go and meet the team in the US to talk about marketing and all that kind of stuff. And she said when we're over, she'll host us a little authors like meetup. Isn't that sweet? Isn't that a nice thing to do? Anyway, I'm all for Jenny. I'm all for her work, and I'm all for her as a person. So go follow Jenny Blake and her work on Pivot. She's lovely. So anyway, we talked to Jenny today. We also talked to John Rothera and Ollie Kelly, who are two people that have done a pivot, and they did that with a company called Makers. Sarah is actually kind of what is she? Is she on the board? Some kind of contact with Makers. But Makers are a really interesting organisation. For people that want to do the bigger kind of pivots, I would have a look at Makers. It's a very intense experience to help people do a big career change. So more on the significant scale of pivoting. And then tomorrow, the last but not least, is Career Continuers. And I'm trying not to bias your view because that's not very helpful. But continuous is one that I'm quite passionate about. So this is, and the language here is really tricky to get right. But this is people who are more experienced and tenured in their career, who are looking into the next 10 and 15 years and potentially feeling a bit uncomfortable about the current narrative of slowing down and retirement and all that kind of stuff that's quite ladder-like, and thinking, well, what if I want to do something different? What if I want to keep going? What if actually I want to focus on my growth and I'm leaning into a world of work which is telling me to slow down and stop, and I want to continue my career and have a long career, and actually the context is economically and socially and financially we need to have longer careers. And so continuous is about people that are, I would say, plus 45, if you want to apply an age to this, who are looking at the next sort of 15, 20 years of their life and thinking, I want to keep learning, working and growing. And I may be looking at a world of work that at the moment is not making that particularly easy. And I would like to be part of that change. I would like to do more with my development at this stage. That's what that episode is all about. We talked to the very wonderful, brilliant Aviva Wittenberg-Kotz, who I would highly recommend following for anybody who is passionate about that area, and also an economist, yes, called Andrew Aitken, who works for the OECD, and they've done some particularly interesting research on career longevity. So that's what's coming up tomorrow. Whew, that was quite a long way of me talking through 5 episodes, everybody. That's about 2.5 hours of content. But they are the 5 episodes, and that's why we've done it, okay? So we think people need different support, and we would also like to get a bit of insight into where we might provide more support in the future. I've got plans to listen to the 10th one. Brilliant, Amika. So my first question to you, and we're going to do this with stars on the screen. So I'm hoping that Zoom haven't changed this too much. Normally you go towards the top of your screen and it says view options. You click there, then you go annotate, stamp and star. And my direction to you is stick a star on the stage that feels most relevant to you right now. So we can just get a sense of a community. You can have more than one, by the way. You might be like, oh, I'm kind of in the returners and changes, or I'm in the continuous and changes. You can have more than one star. On the PC, it's now the pencil icon on the bottom left of the screen. Thanks, Jess. Okay, thank you very much. So the pencil icon, they're not making it easy. I feel like I keep changing every time I'm doing this. Thanks, Sarah and the team. Okay, so what are your stars telling us, everybody? Unsurprisingly, not many starters. Can I frame that starters one differently? Is that relevant to anyone that you know? So if you can add an extra star. If you're like, I know somebody who's a starter, like I have someone in my family, I have someone like, a family friend or whatever, somebody that is a kind of in that starter stage, because I kind of appreciate that for us, maybe it is actually part of the issue with starters, in that I think people could do with a bit of extra support, but I'm not currently talking to starters. I'm talking to people that might know starters. Do you know, like our core audience are you? So I feel like we've got support for starters, and I don't quite know how to get it to them. All right, so what is this telling me? It is telling me that the probably, oh, this is very interesting, everybody. That the two, what do you reckon? Maybe this one and this one are the ones that are most. Setbacks is very close. Most of us are, which kind of makes me sad, because that doesn't feel like a nice stage. It makes me happy that we can help, but if so many of us, that setback stage feels very, very, very difficult for people. Fewer returners, fewer starters. What that makes me think is I need to find other ways to get to those people, because I know lots of people are in those stages, but they're clearly not in this environment. And you are representative of our podcast community more broadly. Okay, maybe can I clear you down, everyone? Hold the annotations for now. I'm going to get rid of, going to get rid of that. Second star, I wonder why those haven't gone. Clear all. Okay, sorry, Lisa, I can't get rid of you. I don't want to get rid of you, but you know what I mean. Second question for you with an annotation. Where do you think we should focus a bit more effort and attention? Where do you think? If we were going to put some of our kind of squiggly attention, and we were going to, I don't know, we're going to write a book, we're going to write another Harvard Business Review article, we're trying to influence people's thinking and create extra support. Where do you think, if you could pick one stage, where would you say, Squiggly team, go there? Where do you think? Interesting. Interesting. What do you think, everybody? I think that you're saying here. I think based on that, probably there, followed by changes is the next one, but continuous. I'm with you. I hope I wasn't influencing you too much, but I'm with you. I'm going to be really interested to see what pickup we get on that podcast tomorrow. Because I think that's where people feel, I think that's where the biggest gap is at the moment. I actually think continuous is where Squiggly was about 10 years ago when we kind of started all this, and people were like, oh, Squiggly gives us permission. You've given us something that's like, it's giving us like a language for the conversations we want to have. And I think continuers are missing that at the moment. I think there's lots of people who are in this phase who need us to advocate for them and enable them, not just us. There are some brilliant people doing stuff in this space. Aviva is one, Lindsay Simpson is another one. Brilliant people doing here. I'm just going to have to, my Zoom is doing all kinds of funny things. Why can I not see you in the chat? I can't see the chat and you at the same time. Here we go. Starters. I'm just scanning through your comments, everyone. Let me catch up. They're now with 9 months to go to official retirement. Someone's ready to early in their career. I feel there's more amazing squiggly content around change. There is quite a lot around changes already, Ellie, but we could probably package it up a bit more. So on that, my request to you after today, particularly on the continuers, is if you have any thoughts about what we could do, because the obvious thing is, like, we can write articles, we can do podcasts, we could potentially write a book. There's all this kind of stuff that we could do. If you have ideas over and above that about, I think it would be useful if you, I don't know, spoke at this thing or did whatever, did a series with continuers just on that, whatever it is. Please message me after today. I would love your thoughts. We are at very early stages of what could we do beyond what we've done this week. So if you have ideas, please let me know. But it's very useful to get your feedback. Okay, let's do some questions. I think because the most popular things were continuous changes and setbacks, I am going to focus on the questions that were relevant to those stages, because in the time that we've got, I still want to make sure, I want to give you a bit of time to reflect, and I want to tell you what's coming next on the podcast. So let me scoot to this one, which was a question that came up in the Career Changers Guide. And maybe if you could pop this in chat, what you might do is get a reply from somebody who could help you. So I think that'd be a nice way of the community helping each other. But the question is, what industries and opportunities would you like to learn more about? So that is your question. If you are feeling brave and open, maybe pop your response to that question into chat. And if somebody could help you with that, maybe that's something you could connect on later. You could connect on LinkedIn. Maybe you could have a bit of a curious conversation. So the question, what industries, opportunities would you like to learn more about? Oh my gosh, what is going on with Zoom today? I can't get to your chat. It's gone crazy. I can't get to your chat. Do you ever have this when it like does some dual screen thing? Can you see what I'm doing? Is it just me that can see this? I can't get to chat. It's done some dual screen thing. Oh my gosh, I'm not normally this technically incompetent, everyone. There we go. Chat is back. What can I see? Okay, so yeah, we've got anybody who can help with any of their areas, please reply. So you've got like David saying sustainability, including B Corps. So I don't know if anyone's gone through the B Corp process. Ellie saying procurement. Craig saying social enterprises. AI is top of my PDP for this year. Well, Kelly, it won't be the only thing, but in June we're doing the AI skill sprint. So if it's on your PDP, that would be a good thing to join. What else have we got? L&D that is innovative and exciting, not maintaining an LMS. Laura, you could come on to one of our Lead Learn Connect sessions, which is for people in L&D. If you email me afterwards, I can invite you to the next one. It's a virtual session specifically for people in L&D. Jess and Ellie, maybe you could connect afterwards for a bit of a curious career conversation. Maybe it could be like a bit of a Squiggly career coach community, because a couple of you said about coaching. Maybe you could someone could self-organize a little Squiggly career coaching community. What else have you got in here? Education from outside. Anna and Victoria. This makes me very happy when people connect. Okay, another question. Conscious of time, everybody. So this one was on the setback episode. So lots of you had said that you are currently in sort of a setback situation. So one of the questions there was about, this is sort of like the looking back in order to learn forward. That's the point of this question. So let me just give you the context. Often when we are in a setback situation, feelings of kind of negativity can creep in. We can feel very, very stuck. And one of the ways that we can get unstuck is something called mental time travel, which is where you look back at a time when you dealt with this before to kind of feel confident that you have navigated it. And then there's another one where you can look forward. That's actually our next question, so I won't do that now. But the first one is, what can you learn from how you have approached setbacks in the past? So I guess you first have to think about a setback, and then you can think about what did you do that worked for you then? So you can either share. I'll think about mine. What was a setback that I experienced? I think a setback that I experienced was when when I had a manager, that I moved to a company, and I had a manager that really just wasn't that interested in me. I think they gave me the big seller interview, and then I arrived and they were like, not that interested. And I found that a bit of like a setback when I was starting. And so what I learned from that was I found my peers who were the most like proactive, like the people who were well networked, really positive, brilliant learners. And I sort of replaced the role that my manager would have played for me with my peers. So, and again, it helps you to think, okay, well, next time I'm in a setback situation that's not based on my manager or something like that, that would be a strategy that I could use because it's worked for me in the past and I could rely on it again in the future. That's the point of this question. So if you're in a setback, maybe you're not willing to share that now, maybe you need more time to reflect, but it's quite a good question. Think about a setback you've been in before, think about what you did that worked, and think about how it might apply to the situation that you're in right now. One more question. This is a nice one. So this actually fits the mental time travel thing. So that setback question takes you back. This one takes you forward. Fast forward 10 years. This is one that is in the Career Continuers Guide. Fast forward 10 years. So I will be 52 in 10 years' time. Describe your ideal day. What would your ideal day be? You don't have to give your age away, everybody, but I feel like I'm just open with you all, probably too open. But what would my ideal day be when I'm 10 years' time? I mean, I'm still... I'd be very happy if I was still doing PodPlus. I'd be happy if we had even more people having squiggly career conversations, and probably more Squiggly ambassadors. So my ideal day might start with a PodPlus session, and then talking to Squiggly ambassadors who are taking Squiggly into all their different like companies, conversations, so that maybe it's less reliant on me and Sarah creating the conversation. That would be my ideal day, like enabling other people to take Squiggly like further. What's yours? Paddleboard, loving life, Kelly. Start your day with your mug. Managing a fab team. You are a Squiggly ambassador. That's lovely. Yeah, even more. I want to enable you even more. I want to give people tools and confidence to go like be Squiggly ambassadors. It's a lovely question. I think it's a very energizing question.